What is the worst experience you have had at a fast food restaurant? I worked at McDonald's a while ago, and some kids stole something from a nearby store and got chased by the cops into our parking lot. They ended up getting cornered into our drive-thru, and one of them had been shot earlier in the chase, and we watched him on our cameras get out of the car and fall on the ground and die while the paramedics tried to help him. It was rough. Chipotle hands down. This wasn't really Chipotle's fault, rather an individual employee of Chipotle. This girl I was seeing, and I went to Chipotle after class. She got a burrito, and I got nachos. Everything was fine, until I went to wake her up the next morning and she literally looked like she was dead. Took her to the ER, and they admitted her immediately. She ended up spending almost a week in the hospital and almost died. Turns out someone poisoned the tomatoes and caused half a dozen people to get deathly sick. Luckily nobody died. Needless to say, I haven't been back. Applebee's. Every Tuesday night they have a clown called Stinky the Clown come and perform tricks for every table. Stinky accidentally hit me in the eye with his handkerchief. I woke up the next day with the worst pink eye in the entire world. I will never eat at Applebee's again. I once dropped my order at McDonald's and the fries went flying all over the floor, under tables, etc. A couple of little kids, around 5, both filthy, instantly started snatching them up and eating them. It then became apparent that their parents hadn't bothered to order any food for their kids, just themselves. Driving from the Oregon coast to Seattle with a hungry family. We don't eat fast food, but traffic had been terrible and we knew we were in for a long ride, longer than normal. So we pull into a roadside Burger King because it's the only thing to be found 4 miles that my wife would agree to eat. Because of the traffic and lack of options, the place is packed. Tables are dirty, people aren't cleaning up their trash, workers are in a foul mood. We eat as quickly as possible and GTFO are there. About half an hour later I have to pull over because I'm totally nauseous and about to blow out the back end. Luckily I found a bathroom. Wife resumes driving because I can barely hold my head up. I throw up in my empty cup of tea along the way. It starts bucketing rain. An hour in, one of my kids throws up in the car. The other completely shits himself and throws up too shortly after. I'm too sick/weak to do much about it, and my wife is doing her best just to drive us home. The car reeks of vomit and diarrhea. We are about an hour from Seattle and my wife hurriedly rolls her window down and hurls. We are going 55 down the highway. She's driving, leaning her head out the window in bucketing rain. Water streaming down her face. The kids are crying from the wind and the cold and the vomit and the We pull over, and I resume driving, while she occasionally pukes out the window. Worst road trip ever. Worst fast food experience ever. I have not eaten at a Burger King since, and this happened 12 years ago. First, a tiny bit of background. My wife, who at the time was not just lactose intolerant, but get earth-shattering cramps, horrendous smelling diarrhea, and feel like she was on fire reaction if she got just a little bit of any kind of dairy. Later we found out this was caused by a faulty gallbladder that was have since evicted. Well, she went to a McDonald's right across the street from her crappy retail job and ordered a McDouble with no cheese, like she did about 3 times a week, because it was cheap and close, and she had very short lunch breaks at said crappy retail job. Well, she gets back to her work and noticed, hey, there is cheese on this. So she has to go all the way back over there and walks into the restaurant and asks to have it replaced. The manager comes over and asks what's wrong when she said she ordered it without cheese and they put cheese on it. He responded with a flippant so. Now this manager was not some just out of high school kid, he had to be in his 30s. So you would think somewhere along the lines he had grown up, but I guess not. She explains to him she is allergic to cheese and needs one without cheese. So he hands the sandwich back to the grill area and they scrap the cheese off her, wrap it, and try to give it back to her. She watches them do this because he was too far away for her to stop them before he got back to the counter, and then trying to be polite as possible explains she cannot eat a sandwich that has had melted cheese scrapped off of it because she is freaking allergic, you stupid waste of human flesh. So he huffs and gives her more attitude and rolls his eyes and angrily throws the sandwich away and asks the grill to make a new one. She gets it, asks him if he is sure it doesn't have cheese on it. He says yes, and she leaves without checking it. Gets back to work, opens up the bag, and guess what she finds on her damn sandwich? 2 slices of cheese. So she gets permission from her boss, since now she has already burned like 35 minutes, to get a stupid sandwich from across the street, and she normally only gets a 30-minute break. Walks back over there, and the manager sees her coming, and asks her, now what? My wife asked to speak to a different manager, who didn't give her any attitude, apologized personally, made her a new one, opened it in front of her to verify there was no cheese on it, and refunded her meal as well. My wife of course got both managers' names and their store number. We then proceeded to report the entire story to McDonald's corporate with a glowing review for the manager who handled it correctly, and a very condemning retelling of the crappy service manager A gave her. We got some gift cards from corporate, and the owner of that particular franchise verified the story with manager B, and manager A's employment was terminated. They asked my wife to come tell her story at her employee meeting, but she declined. So I used to go to this Taco Bell down the street from my high school after finishing band practice with my friends. We went enough times that the drive-thru lady named Tiffany would be ecstatic to see us and give us free She called us baby every time we went through. It was great. I bet you're wondering, how could any of this be bad? Well, the story takes a turn for the worst very quickly. So we do the usual Taco Bell run and order the same thing, get the same free stuff. We get to the window and Tiffany is all smiles when her manager comes up to us and asks to see the recipe. We are kinda deer in the headlight and Tiff is nervous, so the manager grabs the recipe and asks why we are getting free food and drinks in addition to our one quesadilla. Tiff just kinda looks down and mumbles while the manager berates her on giving people free food, then fires her. She began crying and pleading for the job, saying she needed it for her son. But the manager threw her out and gave us our order, the one quesadilla of course, and said he would be keeping an eye on us. Got a very friendly employee fired. At McDonald's once at 3 AM, I went in after a party to have fries and a flurry. Cost about $3 to $4 all around. Anyway, as I'm waiting for my food, some man comes in. He was rattled. He demanded that the employees remake his whole meal of 3 cheeseburgers with mac sauce, 4 McChickens and 2 large fries simply because they forgot mac sauce on one of the burgers. Between his rage and threats to hop the counter and beat the shit out of everyone, they obliged. It has been nearly 5 minutes now, and I have not yet received my fries and ice cream, and I feel uncomfortable standing beside this man. But what can one do? Then, he notices something. He notices that a kid working with the food. He assumes his food is working without wearing gloves. He demands the kid come up front and face him. At this point I'm absorbed by what may happen, but annoyed that the man is such a jerk. When the kid comes to the counter to talk to the red-faced fists clenched man, he gets real nervous. The man tells the kid it's illegal to handle food without wearing gloves, and that if he doesn't fix this right now he'll call the cops. At this point, I want to tell this man he's being ridiculous. I have worked for 3 restaurants and have never heard of this bogus law. But I just want my fries, and it's been nearly 10 minutes now. By now the whole restaurant is on hold to deal with this man, and I overhear some people sitting at a table say, "Let's get out of here before I kick that guy's ass." After all, it's McDonald's. What were you expecting? Superior quality? He demands they remake his food because of the whole glove issue, and I was about to say something when someone in the kitchen calls the cops because that whole situation needed to be defused. By now, I decide my food is a lost cause. I leave without getting my money back. This happened almost a year ago. A few weeks back I was at Denny's and had another encounter with the same unstable man. Thanks for reading. Ordered $3 of food and McD's. Man comes in angry about what he received in his drive-thru order. Stalls whole restaurant nearly 10-20 minutes. I leave without my food. McDonald's 1 AM. I pulled up to the window and ordered a McDouble, a McChicken, and a large fry. Easy peasy. I drive up to pay, and the woman working there hands me a McDouble, a McChicken, and a large black coffee. Large black coffee? I asked. Yes. She replied. I ordered a large fry actually. No, you ordered a large black coffee. I'm pretty sure I ordered a large fry. Nope, you ordered a coffee. No, I didn't. Yes, you did, sir. Fine. Just give me the coffee. Being non-confrontational, I pull out of the drive-thru and drive back into the line. to order my goddamn large fry. When I get up the window I make sure to clearly and loudly enunciate. Yes, I would like a large fry. A large fry. French fry. Large. I get up to the pickup window for the second time and the same woman hands me yet another large black coffee. I definitely ordered a large fry. No, you ordered a large black coffee. No, I ordered a large fry. You said black coffee. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Why would I drive all the way around and go through the drive-thru again and order a black coffee that, again, I don't want? So after 2 round trips through the drive-thru, I finally got my large fry, along with 2 large black coffees, at 1 AM.